For my next review, I was looking for a nice traditional JRPG with full-size characters, as opposed to chibi style, which you find a lot on PSP. And I'll go over those on future videos. Today, let's take a look at Brave Story, released in 2007 for the almighty PSP. If you're liking the video so far, make sure to subscribe. Let's get into it. The story and setting is what's going to grab you and keep you plugged in for this 20 to 25 hour or so adventure. You begin as main character Tatsuya, who's oblivious to what's going on around him, and instead buries his head in video games while hanging out with his best friend Miki. The game is really trying to identify us, the player, as Tatsuya. Miki disappears and her dog Kratos leads Tatsuya to her, only to find her unconscious on the ground due to an unknown illness. At the hospital, Tatsuya makes a wish for her to get better. A mysterious voice comes to Tatsuya and asks him if he wants to save his friend. Tatsuya agrees, and that's when he gets transported into Vision, a fantasy world with different races and a whole nother set of problems. Tatsuya, equipped with the Traveler's Sword, has to set out and retrieve 5 gems that fit into the sword so he can go back to the real world and save Miki. What kind of JRPG would this be if there weren't quirky characters who join you on your adventure? One of the first and my favorite characters that join you is Yuno, who you find under attack in the woods in need of help. After saving her, she takes you back to town to meet her parents, and for some ungodly reason, her father of all people insists that his underage daughter go off with Tatsuya on his quest to find 5 gems. Okay, well, the real reason is that he believes that if a traveler were ever to arrive, it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to join them. But still, Yuno is full of personality with her funny observational humor type dialogue. Yuno and Tatsuya join the Highlanders, a group of people put in charge of protecting Vision against monsters. They join in order to cross borders in which they wouldn't have been able to as normal civilians. They meet up with the waterkin Sagrith, who joins them after they work together to save his son. The adventure gets more complex and you'll find stones after most main bosses. These stones will also give you unique power-ups for your weapon. Eventually, your main team is fully assembled around chapter 8. The story is pretty linear with a few side quests to do for people in exchange for items, but I didn't find these necessary for your quest. You can stick to main objectives and be fine if that's the playstyle you enjoy. There's lots and lots of dialogue in that Persona style where they tell you the same thing in 5 different ways. I found myself skipping dialogue, like, I get it. Let me just go to the next area, please. That's about my only complaint about the story. The story itself is pretty damn good with tons of characters and backstories done really, really well. Like I mentioned earlier, Brave Story's combat is traditional in the sense that it is turn-based and there are abilities to use. The developer did try to put their own little spin on this, of course, the first and most noticeable being that BP, or Brave Power, which is similar to magic points in other role-playing games, is restored via damage output and not through potions. So as long as you're attacking, you get some BP restored. BP, which is used for healing, spells, and special moves, aka bravura skills. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. This is pretty useful as I barely found myself running out of BP, and I kept my focus on relentlessly attacking during battle. The battles are random encounters in the overworld and dungeons. Unfortunately, yes, battles are very frequent, but you eventually unlock the stealth skill, which prevents weaker enemies from attacking. Bravura skills is where the flair during fights happen, and you'll learn new skills frequently in order to heal, attack multiple enemies, or guarantee powerful critical hits on a single enemy. For me, the rhythm in battles was in how I would engage in 4 or more enemies. My team really didn't consist of spell users. Instead, I formed a 2 healers and 1 attacker team, because the healers, for example Yuno and Milady, still put out good damage and can even attack multiple enemies. This way I had healing covered and also the abilities to damage a large number of enemies on a single turn. But you don't have to play this way, you can still have the option of having spellcasters and tanks. Up to you. Aside from bravura skills, basic normal attacks vary as well, in that if you finish off an enemy, there's a high chance that same character will perform an extra attack on another enemy, which is always useful and it's cool when it happens. So don't be afraid to build up your BP this way. Last but not least, there are unity moves to pull off that involve two party members, resulting in powerful results, whether it be for buffing or just all-out attacking. Unity moves use a little too much BP for my liking. I really didn't use them much. Battle menus are easy to navigate and intuitive. You really won't mistakenly select moves you didn't want. All the prompts during battle are very nice and clearly laid out. Enemy variety stays surprising throughout the game. There isn't much palette swapping going on, with the exception of 1 or 2 enemies. And characters stay well detailed, their style unique to that Brave story art style. So combat isn't overly complex by any means. You won't even have to buy skills. Everything is earned by leveling up. I think that was done on purpose by the developers, since everything, even the story, is short and to the point. Some people might enjoy this, some people may not. For a PSP game, I found the graphics to be on par with some of the best games on the system, with a few downfalls. The fantasy setting is of course a setting we've seen done a million times on other consoles, but on PSP it's still amazing to see. Character models are large and the close-ups hold up well during battle. Lighting and motion effects during battle are a treat to see and really don't get old. Towns are varied, I like to see that, starting off with typical fantasy towns down to run-down impoverished towns and all the way up to clean, wealthy towns. Dungeons could use some work. Each screen in a dungeon looks the same with a slight tweak to the layout, and many dungeons have these long paths to walk through, which is boring in my opinion, with no puzzles to speak of. Just random battles and navigate to the next exit. The overworld is what you would expect, a low detail environment with low polygon trees here and there. The saving grace for Brave Story's graphics are the towns and battles. Luckily, those are two places you'll be in the most in a JRPG. Music is mostly pleasant with a few standout tracks here and there. Town themes do the job, but I was waiting for that one song that would cause me to stand still and just listen, like I would in a Chrono Cross or Trials of Mana. But no, mostly generic fantasy tunes here, and it's a shame because the PSP can pump out quality stuff. Battle music in an RPG is the most important track in my opinion, and Brave Story's battle theme has the weird ability to become more and more ear-piercing every time you hear it.
Time to get punished! Ha! Let's hunt him down! Let's hunt him down! Yeah!
Here's an idea. No trumpets. No trumpets in battle themes. Who puts trumpets or a clarinet or whatever that is in theme music? Why did you do that? Never again. Guys, I hope you enjoyed my review of Brave Story. Aside from some boring dungeons and drawn out text, it really is a must-own JRPG. If you enjoyed the review, make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.